Hello and welcome to Stop the Crime with me, Alhaji Irvad Ibrahim, on your favorite channel, Home Base Television. You can see a little toy in my hand. It's called a drone. A drone has various parts and it has various roles it plays in recreation and security. And today, that is the subject of our conversation. We'll go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, I introduce our guest. Stick and stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Okay, hello and welcome back. Today we are discussing the security implications of civilian use of this toy, a drone. And we couldn't have had a better person than a very good friend of mine, a co-facilitator in the security and intelligence program at Knatsford University, Mr. James Ajamle. He's a drone tutor and instructor. James, good to see you.
My pleasure.
Well, of course, the university is on break, of course, so lecturing is a bit on the low side, but we hope COVID ends soon so that we can have a reunion with our students, people in the security sector we've been training for quite some time. There is talk of a drone, and today you can buy this off eBay or Amazon. What is a drone? As we look at it, what are the parts and what functions does it perform?
Good. So basically, a drone is a UAV. When we say a UAV, we mean an unmanned aerial vehicle. To make it a bit easier, we are all comfortable. We know about the aircraft, whereby there is a pilot who is on board. But this time around, we have a pilot off board, which means that the aircraft system itself is in the air, but it's being controlled remotely. So any device that is being controlled remotely but unmanned is what we call a drone. Basically, drones are in different types. You have the one for commercial and the one for recreational. So once we say commercial, or even some are made specifically for certain projects like the military, so those ones are having restrictions, but the commercial ones mostly we call them the quadcopters. Yes, so the recreational ones are the quadcopters. When we say a quadcopter, it's a drone, but people normally confuse the two. So a quadcopter is a drone but with 4 rotors. So I want to just demonstrate,
Please
or show you the plan.
Please do.
So basically, this is a quadcopter. Why do we say it's a quadcopter? Because it has 4 rotors. How many rotors? It has the propellers, 4 propellers. And then somebody asked, Zipline, we know also do delivery with drones in our country. They also use drone, but theirs is not a quadcopter. There's a specialized drone. So there can be a drone which is not a quadcopter, and the difference is that the one with the 4 propellers is what we call a quadcopter, but it's also a drone. The one mostly used for, recreational purposes. On my left, I have, the drone equipment, and on my right, it's what we call the remote. Yes, so, or the controller. So the controller basically syncs or communicates with the sensors. So there are 8 sensors on this drone on my left, and the sensors using GPS technology are able to communicate by way of flying, starting the drone, and doing any other operations like it being tilting or doing other operations in the sky. So basically, this is what I want to talk about.
So beneath the drone, maybe the control, the remote can rest on the table. Where is the camera? And can the camera do a 360, or it faces only one or two directions?
Good. So there are different types of drones. I mean, in terms of the brands. What I have here is the DJI. And DJI, we have Maverick. We also have the Phantom. Now, Phantom has its camera at the rear end or at the bottom. But what I have here is Maverick, which has it, I mean, in the front. So this is a camera.
Okay.
You know what I'm pointing right. Here's a camera. So the camera is able to take 360, depending on the way the direction it is. You can still take it. You can still take it.
So at what time did warfare, because normally it would start with warfare, even the internet when it started it was used for intelligence gathering, then gradually it is available on the open market for civilians. Did the CIA or MI6 or Mossad or the Mukhabarat in the Middle East security agencies use drones for quite a long time gathering intel because before they declassify this role to say, okay, ordinary civilians can use it?
Yes,
What has been the evolution? So
drone itself, as it is, started from the military section, especially in the United States, whereby they use this for their missions. So, for example, if they are going to places that they know will be a bit critical or will be a bit difficult for physical presence, they send the drones there to take intelligence. So that will be somewhere in the 1950s. So drone technology didn't begin now. Started quite some time
So
now.
in the Korean War it was used.
Yes.
In the Vietnam War it was used by the American military, you mean?
Yes. Even the drone, sometimes they build them even in the lab, and they use them for different purposes. Maybe they want to go and trace a weapon. They can able to go and send this drone to be able to take certain signals that can know whether there's a weapon around this area, and then they get a feedback to the military. Until quite some decade, drone now became something that can be accessible by the public. Even with that, there are regulations. Of course, in the United States, there are regulators. So they have the CIA, the Civil Aviation Authority, who regulates drones. And each drone there are some drones which are limited in terms of it cannot be used, in the public. Yes, and all based on sometimes their weight. For example, a drone, regular drone, recreational drone, is about 500 grams. 500 grams, something like this is about 500 grams. So for these ones can be used, but those which are a bit heavier, which are more sophisticated, some are not allowed to be operated.
So drones use infrared, do they, or they don't?
Yes, they
so
use.
Can they pierce opaque bodies and find out what is behind the wall?
So it depends the type of, yes, there's infrared, but not all drones. Yeah, so it depends the type of drone. But the ones that we use in our, for recreational purposes, some have infrared. Especially you can use it during the night, where vision might be blurred, but you can still get very clear images and pictures.
You talked about regulation, and you mentioned the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. It has catalogued some conditions you need to satisfy before you can use a drone in Ghana. Number one, you need custom clearance. It has to do with the importation. What goes into that?
Good.
I've bought this off eBay, or I've gone to Alibaba to buy it. How does it come through DHL? How is the regulation done?
Good. So if we'll be honest to ourselves, most people have followed the law, because Ghana Civil Aviation Authority is backed by law to regulate the use of drone. But all of us have access to their website, gcaa.gov.gh. When we go there, we can see their regulations. So the first one you mentioned is even before you even purchase, before you even make purchase from eBay, we ought to what? Fill a form, which is, electronic form, can be downloaded electronically and submit. And if it is going to be used for business or a commercial purpose, then you need to even attach your company letterhead. So they might speak more to that, but most people I work with is that in the industry, we know that they just get it off the shelf and they start operating, forgetting that there is a regulator for them.
For the purpose of recreation, we know those who purchase drones are those who shoot music videos, those in the showbiz industry. And these are like people that come together, maybe under a brand name, others to are individuals. So you need to make a declaration of intent even before the acquisition or procurement.
Exactly.
And when you say people get it off the shelf, can't they be stopped when it is sent by a courier service?
Mostly, once you've paid your tax, you clear yourself. It's your property.
Yes.
But we ought to do the right thing. So even if now we've not done the right thing, we can still go and then fill those forms, make those necessary payments, then we can be cleared.
So it's more about a commercial scrutiny rather than finding out the security features and capabilities of the drones. Is that the kind of impression I get?
It's both, because I'm looking at not only recreational, even per the GCAA website, even for recreational, you still need to register. You still need to register your drone in terms of before you even purchase, you need to fill that form, and then it needs to be approved. Then you can fly or buy in your drone to the country. That is crucial. We all need to do both commercial and then individuals or even for recreational purposes.
Have you purchased a drone before?
Yes.
Of course, you're an instructor.
Of course.
You can't be a driver without sitting behind
Yes.
the wheels.
So,
and how was the experience like? for
So
you?
basically, I use Amazon. So of course, you can get it in most of the e-commerce sites. So we buy from Amazon. Ranges between $800, $700. So maybe you get it, then it's shipped to you. Of course, with the it's shipped to you once you make your payment. Then the courier service delivers to you.
Okay. So is that easy?
Very, very easy.
Okay, we'll still look at a few issues on regulation. There should be an approval process for commercial operations. So shooting music videos is the only meaning of commercial purposes, or a movie or a documentary, or there are other uses. For example, in the mining industry, we know ENI is operational here, which is an Italian exploration company, and then we have others that are in the oil industry. Are drones used in this definition of what is commercial to do prospecting, both at sea and then on land? Or the meaning of commercial in our case is people want to boogie, they are shooting a music video, so it's commercial.
In fact, commercial, looking at it from the point of video shooting or other, that may fall under recreational. Like you mentioned, those in the exploratory industry, they also make massive use of drones. So they fall under the commercial category, whereby, for example, the Tema Oil Refinery invest a lot in terms of, gas. So in terms of protecting those sides, they employ the service of drones to be monitoring certain areas randomly to prevent those who try to siphon oil. So those are commercial uses, and the exploratory industry, they also may use it to explore certain area before they go there. We just mentioned of Zipline. Zipline also a commercial entity, whereby they use drones or they use drones to enhance delivery of lifeline medicine, and these are some of the categories of services that can fall under commercial.
I'll take you back a little on customs clearance. It says, and this is from the GCAA website, the applicant shall apply using application form R28AF001. How unique is this form?
So it's downloadable, and over there you need to fill in, the amounts, your intents, the intents, your intention of, purchasing the drone. You need to declare there. Then you submit it, but of course you need to be directed to the, you need to be directed to the Director General of GCA, so that when you do that, you need to also make some payments. Then once you do all those things, they can look at your application and then grant it to you.
Okay, it shall then be registered after clearing customs as per the approval process for recreational and private operations. But we employ, and I've tried hiring the services of a drone operator before. Going to GCA was an afterthought. So the procurement is done, then you go there. So do you go there with what you've bought as an exhibit, so they can do the assessment and give you how many days before you come back for the clearance?
So it ideally should be before, ideally, but to make sure you also don't fall under the, you don't fall prey to the law. It's good even if you get to know later, you go and then register your drone. It's both way.
Okay. And then it also says there should be an approval process for flights above 400 feet above ground level, AGL, and beyond visual line of sight, BVLOS operations. What are these technical terms?
Good. So drones are built, and we know they are powerful. They are powerful devices, but they have limits. Recommended limits for a drone is 400 feet. And the reason is that at 400 feet, that is an altitude that an aircraft should reach, especially a drone. Once it goes beyond even 400 feet, the drone is out of control.
Hey, we fly planes, so you mean planes don't go beyond 400 feet?
They
altitude?
They go. Okay. We mean, I'm talking about the
drones.
The drones.
Okay.
They are recommended flight, altitude, in the sense that when you go beyond that, that means that communication between even your device and then the controller becomes difficult. The sensors may lose, and most often when it happens like that, it causes crashes. Just to recall, there was a research I made in the United States during 2015. They experience such crashes, and we know that drones are not supposed to be operated within certain jurisdictions. One of them is the airport. So when drones fly above 400 feet, they tend to lose control. In that case, they can even cause a crash of an airplane, because that is the way.
This is only 500 grams, sir. When this, strikes the fuselage or wings of a plane, it wouldn't cause any damage, would it?
Not necessarily, but we are talking about sensors, and as a flight is up, in the sky, they depend on sensors a lot. So once there's another device trying to distract it, it can easily cause a crash. That will mean a crash. It can even lose its way and may even lead to a crash.
To get you right, the watch towers at the airport may have mixed signals because of the frequency coming from the drone. That is why we are not supposed to fly drones at the airport.
Not only airports.
What are the sensitive areas?
Another sensitive area is even the Flagstaff House. Let's be more in our country.
Which is a neighbor. Home base is a neighbor to the president.
You can't fly here, a drone here, because these are security areas, high security areas. So know the Flagstaff House, once we fall under high security areas, we are not.
What about hospitals? Can you fly over a hospital?
hospital is a public place, but even as you fly a drone, you need to seek authorization. That is what we most sometimes we miss. Somebody might have contracted you to do, a footage, and as you go on that work, you need to also find out, inform those who are partners, more so to speak, stakeholders, those who might be affected. For example, as you go to a particular area, there might be hospitals. You need to inform them of your activity so that you can fly your drone. Even though it's a public area, you can fly, you still need to inform stakeholders so you should get approval. That is what is encouraged.
The Civil Aviation Authority has got a decrease. When you look at 28 subsection 4, it talks about things you can't do with a drone. You can't do night operations. So in a closed circuit, maybe young people are having fun on an AstroTurf. Can they use it at night? Or at night, you can use it over the Liberation Road at Osu, around the National Theatre, around ministries. Why are there restrictions on night operations of drones?
Security implications. In the night, we know so there may be other reasons why somebody might fly a drone. So the intent, it's not the flying of the drone, but the intent. Could it be that somebody is using that tool or that device to be able to, get into another system, or kind of find poke his or her nose into somebody's privacy? Because mostly in the night we all have our privacy. So when you use drones at night, unless you have authorized, of course drones can be used at night when you have the authorization. Maybe you are to go on a search, a rescue and search purpose. For that one, it can be in the night, but drones can help in terms of identifying maybe what your target. So it can be used in the night, but we are not encouraging, because for recreational purposes, drones are not encouraged to be used.
But you know what? In some of the plush neighborhoods, the young people don't have authorization. Maybe they live in a shanty town. They want a residential area to shoot a series or a music video, a clip. They wait in the afternoon when property owners are at work, because of course at night, if there's any activity, then someone can raise an alarm. So is it an infringement on the privacy of people that people would come to a residential area without authorization from the people, or clearance alone from the GC, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, means authorization to fly wherever you want? Do you need authorization or permission from the people?
That's a good question. In fact, we need to understand this. We work with people, so we cannot work alone. We cannot be in our own island. In that, where we will be, where we will be going, or you as the professional, a drone professional, will be going, you need to inform stakeholders. Stakeholders who mean the neighborhood, those in the neighborhood. Probably you can't reach everyone, but of course there are opinion leaders. You can inform those critical decision makers. Probably, as you were talking about footage in an estate or something, maybe the estate's owner or those who are put in charge can be informed. Wherever they will give you, you just limit yourself to that area. So if they do it without informing the stakeholders, then it's an infringement of the law, of course, because based on that they can be sued, and we know the aftermath when we are sued. So we need to follow due process so that we don't infringe on people's privacy.
So when you notice a drone is flying above your compound or over your compound, what should be your response? What's the first thing you need to do?
So
is there a hotline to the Ghana Civil Aviation you can call directly, or it has to be a police issue? You report to the local police.
Once somebody feels he's not, he's not safe, like his privacy is being is not safe, the person can call the police. Of course, they are the enforcers of the law. So if we all know, if you know that as a professional, the drone, you own a drone and you know to fly it at night or certain areas, and you do that, then the law enforcers must be called. And of course, GCA has its own line which can be accessible on their website, but the right thing is to call the police. They can enforce the law.
So the police would then have the right to detain. If you call GCA, GCA is sitting behind a screen, a server that can identify that particular drone, because we are told that anytime a drone goes off the ground, the signal is being monitored by the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. Can they disable the drone so that it crash lands and to save the privacy of people?
For that, it will be it's a bit complicated because once you are flying a drone, you are able to control it. No one can control it elsewhere because you have the controllers. Let's get this very clear. The important thing is
there's no technology that will be able to shoot down a plane that breaches your airspace. You can't do that for a drone.
For that one too, it may also it calls for there are, in fact, we even heard in the outside world of one territorial space being encroached. So they try to shoot off the drone, and it became so it brought a lot of confusion even between the Americans and the Iranians. So we're looking at, but in our country we don't have that technology to shoot down a drone.
Are there no jammers? Can't you jam the frequency?
Really, no. It depends on, for now, no, because each one has been given we all have the space, provided you are within the right space to fly your drone. The only thing is that when the person, who flies the law, you have details about the person, you can give those information. Because once you are being prevented, GCA has authority as a regulator to prevent you from flying, which means that your device may even be
confiscated.
Okay.
So when we come back, what are the remedies available to the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority when people flout rules of engagement? We are still here with James Ajamle. He's a drone instructor discussing the security implications of civilian use of drones. We go for another commercial break. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. When you work in a corporate environment, when you flout to the laws or the rules, you are given a query. If it becomes perennial, you may be given a sack. What are the remedies available to the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority when people fly where they are not supposed to fly, and at times they are not supposed to fly?
So they are backed by the law. So an act of parliament in 2012 Act 722 give them that authority. And we should also know that once somebody breaches the law, there may be other aspect of the law that somebody also may flout. In that you have somebody, suppose that somebody is flying a drone in an authorized place or in somebody's privacy. One, somebody you've breached privacy, and everyone has, the right to privacy. So it means that not only the regulator that comes in, but even other agencies can also will also come in. So mostly we encourage the professionals or those who use drones, it being even for recreational purpose, to be conversant and then engage. In fact, the best way is to be civil, as in you need to engage, talk to people about your intent, so that people will be okay with whatever you want to do. At the same time, to most people make those footage and then just expose them on social media, which is not encouraged. So the purpose why you took you took a footage should only serve that purpose. For example, in my class we also take footage of, we go to certain areas, we take footages. We don't place those images or videos on social media, because once it goes there, others details will be there. We keep them as lab work or for the purpose of our work. So we encourage those who also use the drone to not post those pictures on social media, because drone is so powerful that it can even take detailed information, detailed view in terms of photographic. Some can be so detailed that you mostly, like you mentioned, panoramic view. Mostly the drones that are able to take those detailed view that you can be able to use to trace. So we encourage people not to just post those images or footages on social media.
So when your license is revoked, then the drone can't get off the ground, because maybe you have to demonstrate to the stores. They say you may smuggle in or sneak in a drone. For as long as the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority doesn't give you authorization to fly, the drone just doesn't fly. And so what are the technical, or intricate things that make this happen?
For now,
every drone that comes into the country can fly.
For now, can fly.
Are you sure?
Yes, because for now.
So for example, show me.
What I need for my drone to fly is I'll just make sure that all my parts are fixed. So I have my controller here, or the remote here. So what I do is that, for the sake of where we are, I cannot fly though.
Okay.
So we just have to. I need to start my.
Okay.
So once once your product is functional, you can fly it.
Every car has got a chassis number, what most Ghanaians want to call a chassis number, and every gun has got a serial number. Do the producers or manufacturers not share such details with various states, nation states like the Republic of Ghana, members of the United Nations, so that there are ways? Because I'm told it is quite eerie that you are telling me people can fly when they even smuggle in drones.
The reason is the intent. One, we've not reached that state, except the drone is faulty. Now, once you have a fully fledged drone, you can fly it.
And again, other concerns have been raised. We see footage from Syria where little explosives have been attached to drones. In Venezuela, Maduro, the president, was doing a parade and a drone came around and then dropped an explosive. Does this thing have any holding capacity to hold a few grams of an explosive? So there are fears we can entertain that this could be dropped on a sensitive target.
Good. So as I was explaining during my definition, there are different types of drones. Some drones, like the quadcopter I mentioned, is for recreational purpose. Okay. And its recreational purpose make it like if you want to take a very good image of a surrounding, if you want to take a very good footage, I mean video of your event, you can employ these quadcopters. On the other side, we have drones which can do other tasks like on delivery. So probably they use those delivery drones to drop those
Explosives. So in Ghana, even the legit importation of, weight carrying drones, it's not accepted. Can you put that on record?
Yes, it's not accepted for now. So drones are not commercialized. If I mean commercialized, they are not commercialized in Ghana. The only company so far which has been authorized, even now it's backed by the law of parliament, is Zipline, who does the lifeline support in terms of delivery.
Can't Zipline assets fall into wrong hands?
They are being, as it is, they are also they have a good management and a team, a crew that's take care of. They monitor the movement each time using GPS technology. So, of course, there are pros and cons, but the drones are effective to do delivery. There may be other mitigating factors, if it can be human, but all these things so far is being monitored. So I cannot say that it cannot fall in the wrong hands, but it's a device. If it falls in the wrong hands, for example, I'm aware one time their drone was going on a delivery and it fell somewhere, and they have to manually go and look for it. So if it falls in the wrong hands, fine. Those people don't have the control, because they have a control system who does the whole flight. So unless those people have access to the controllers, then we can say it's in the wrong hands.
And so we shouldn't entertain any fears, you would say?
Not at all.
Okay. And of course, Ghana doesn't have too many external enemies for them to want to infiltrate the country, use jammers to sabotage Zipline so they can use their drones for other purposes. Another point is that you can't fly across borders. So when I'm around Elubo or Aflao or Paga or Hamili, what are the restrictions?
So these are made so that we don't have any dispute with our neighbors. Each country has its territorial role or oversight. So once you are not flying outside our borders means that they may also have their own rules of engagement with respect to the use of drones. Probably there are some countries they even don't allow drones to be.
Are there such countries? I know in China there's no Facebook, there's no Google in China.
Yeah.
Does Google have a blanket rule that don't import drones from the West? China, maybe North Korea, you would say. Restrictive countries.
For that, I can't mention it for sure, but I know in our sub-region,
or in sub-Saharan Africa, you can fly anything you want.
Some don't. Subscribe to the use of drones. Ghana,
within West Africa.
Within West Africa, I know.
Are there examples? Because I don't see any dictatorial regime that would say don't fly recreational drones.
So, I can't speak for sure like on the country, but what I know is that with that clause in the GCA website, it means that when we are flying the drone, we should fly within our jurisdiction. So once we go beyond or we go into somebody's territory, they may have a different rule as to how they engage the drone technology. So we want to limit ourselves to our territory.
And then again, there is also talk of the use of drones to do like super extraordinary stuff. Are there ways beyond movie shooting or shooting a video clip? Now they say national security issues are public issues. From where you sit, can we put these little toys to other utility forms of utility other than just for music and other forms of recreation?
Yes.
For example,
Much.
CSIR, which is into food research. How helpful can this be in the fight against galamsey? How useful are drones?
Good.
So beyond entertainment.
Good. So even now, drone technology is helping a lot of field. Like it's good you mentioned CSIR. So I will even talk about agriculture. We have, agencies who are interested in agriculture investing in drones, whereby these drones are being sent out to analyze the land or to survey the land, agricultural land, and they're able to even help even in assessing how good a particular crop can be. So we can see that drones are being used even in our country, not just something that we are thinking about. We are being used a lot. The same time too in the construction industry, building and construction field too, drones play a good part, as in analyzing areas that aren't good, because once you're going to build, you need to assess or analyze the
topography of the land,
and drones can be used for that. And you also mentioned the let's talk about the oil industry. They need it and they really invest into this, because with the siphoning of fuel, it costs a lot of it costs the country so much. So they invest in drones to be able to monitor all these resources, so that the bad guys don't cost the country so much.
And you've noticed in recent times, His Excellency the President, in his addresses to the nation, they give you an aerial view from the Christ the King School. They give you an aerial view. So flying a drone like this, that gives an impression of imagery that we're actually going into the Jubilee House to listen to the President. Is this being handled by the Communications Bureau at the presidency, or you think national security has had to give some clearance for this?
So it's still under the, I'm certain it will be from the president's team, his crew, because of course they also have clearance, so they know they are giving the clearance to take that footage. And as we said, the security areas, high security areas, a no-no for flying drones. So if there will be a need to fly a drone, that means they may have authorization, or they are from within there.
By doing that, aren't we giving away too much information? Because we've been to the precincts of the White House. Aren't we giving away too much information in terms of the details of the foyer of the Flagstaff or Jubilee House, and other tiny details that are very important to the trained eye? And then every nation has got enemies, whether the enemies are overt or covert.
Okay.
So would you say that, yes, we know the president, we know he addresses us from the Jubilee House, there is no need for us to have an aerial view?
Probably having an
I'm
aerial
not pushing
view,
you to make your policy
anyway,
statement.
yes, but I see it as
An innovative
way. And secondly, to all this information about the aerial view of maybe the Flagstaff House, it still can be seen on Google Map. Yes. So
what's the essence of making it a no-fly zone?
So what I mean is not too detailed, and the drone, as you were referring to, might have been limited to certain areas. Get this clear that once a drone gets into the Flagstaff House, it's not just even the outside. When a drone goes there, it can take detailed information. Maybe even drone can move from all enclaves within the Flagstaff House. That is when we can say maybe it's giving more detail. But maybe this one giving the outside view, it's a bit of information, but probably still within the the president's crew. I think it's fine.
In wrapping up, I'll ask you some pinpointed questions. A drone like this can be airborne for how many minutes?
Depending on the battery, it can last for 15 minutes. some can last for 30 minutes as an in-flight. But one good thing is that as you purchase, they come with multiple batteries so that you can quickly change them. And the communication is done such that even on your mobile device, you can be able to control your drone. So in this case, when your drone, you can set it that when your drone gets to say 50% of battery power, you should get a signal so that you can quickly bring it back home. So there's a button, or you can set it that the drone just comes to your home in quote, as in where you want it to be to land, so that you can change the battery and then continue your flight.
There have been times people have flown a drone and then it is coming back to the point of flight, then it breaks the louver blade. What causes that? Is it a malfunction?
It's because of the settings. Yes, so when we say you can set all, the drone's movement just on your mobile device. So what you need to do is that you need to set it to fit your current location. That's the GPS location. But probably when you don't set it to your current GPS location, then it means just pick any location and then land. But most drones that are coming now are able to detect objects. So the crash frequency has reduced now. So once it sees that it's getting towards an object, the drone that stays in the air until you manually bring it down or it avoids the object. So mostly now the crash rate has reduced.
Finally, because we are wrapping up, what do you think will be the future of civilian use of drones? Will there get a time where little kids are going to school, they also have to hold a drone? Is there a tracking device in a drone? How much information can drones transmit? How can we personalize drones as a part of our lives? How does the future look like for the civilian use of drones in wrapping up?
Okay, so if that's a good question, the answer is the future is even now, because in 2022 the United States Civil Aviation Authority is even, they were able to do, based on their data, they were able to see that there will be more drones flying in the cyber in space. So their concern is that we all need to be more concerned about the safety of the device and trying to follow protocols. So in fact, drone usage is on the increase. Even the time will come, I'm sure about Ghana is about 30 million. Probably, I don't have the data, but I'm certain most people are still getting drones, and it's becoming more or less no more a luxury, but something you can afford, and maybe you can use for your personal projects or for recreational purpose. So more people will buy into this, but the purpose is, as you get a drone, the intent matters. Are you buying it to be able to infiltrate or begin to check on other people? That is, you are not authorized to do that. You use a drone for your personal reason, and anytime you are using it within a jurisdiction and you know others will be affected, is good you inform them. That's a civil way of dealing with these issues, other than just taking a drone and then taking footage anywhere, which is not encouraged.
I was in Chibi some months ago, and I took a little tour of the JB Dankwa Memorial Center. It has a library and has a robotics center. We live in an age of artificial intel, AI. Would you say Ghana, as it seeks to industrialize, and we're now talking about technical and vocational education, giving people the knack to produce stuff, do you think we should start wrapping our minds around the possibility of locally building drones?
Yes, we should do that. And from my field as I speak, there are young ones coming up who are building drones. Yes, well, even in Ghana, at KNUST is where I based, where I had my higher education. There are students that have built basic drones.
My friend, I've been to KNUST to give lectures and do other things. Even the elevator doesn't work, and you are waiting for outside engineers to come in, and you are a science and technology university, and you are telling me here that KNUST has got the expertise to build drones?
Yes, they are building drones. It's the electronic features. Okay. And as we spoke about, there are sensors, and once you get those sensors and electronic parts, it works. Then you can control. That is the basic drone, but not necessarily meant for commercial purposes, but something you can at least. I've seen some, and this is the time. And like you mentioned AI, so it means that with the data that we gather from drone, this data can be used even with AI. Now you can be able to interpret this data and even give more meaningful, interpretations. Or we are getting somewhere that everyone must be interested in these devices. Technology in terms of the drone usage.
Maybe finally, I've said finally a couple of times. At this time of COVID, in terms of contact tracing, can we put drones to any use, or you don't think we can? Contact tracing.
It can. In that, for example, now with Google, in fact, I'm one of the Google Map. They have, each time you go to the Google Map,
and we have 30 seconds to wrap up.
You're able to see areas that are high in terms of the COVID, outbreak. So with drones, once we're talking about areas which are high, we can use drones to also help in the contact tracing, not necessarily identify individuals, but once we get a GPS location, they can be used to trace those, to get to those people.
Our guest has been James Kofi Ajamle, a drone instructor, and we discussed the security implications of the civilian use of drones. And this program has been ably brought to you by a competent team of producers. In the MCR, Michael Opoko has been, producers have been Nana Kofi Eje and Mr. Eric Esoman, and the directors have been Nathaniel Ashi and Nicholas Soya. And then I also had my very good friends Bernard and his colleagues tweaking the cameras. Until we come your way next week with another edition of Stop the Crime, we keep saying, report it, stop it. Bye-bye.